Good morning, dear beloveds. Well, I am joining you I'm actually on the very sunny Gold Coast, but I have actually closed those curtains behind me because the light was so bright that you would not be able to see me. And I've woken up with a slightly croaky voice this morning, I think perhaps coming to the end of 8 days of being on the postgraduate retreat. And even though it's not as an intensive teaching as, say, the third level, which if you've been on that retreat, you know that's an intensive teaching time, there was still lots of talking and lots of joy and lots of celebrating. And I have obviously used my voice and it is needing a rest. So I'm very happy to say that I am having I've had a beautiful evening to myself down here on the Gold Coast at Broad Beach in beautiful Queensland. I'm flying home today to Melbourne, which I'm a little bit terrified about because it's my husband has provided me with information that it will be 2 degrees Celsius when I land, which is very different to the glorious weather. I'll show you outside before I finish my live today. But I wanted to jump in here because I believe that when we go on retreat, when we immerse ourselves in our spiritual devotion, that of course we open more and more to the conversation between us and the infinite. And that is what intuition is, yes? So we're moving our awakening consciousness closer towards the God mind, and as a result, we have access to more and more information. And that's exactly what's happened for me, and I want to share it with you, of course, because I'm the teacher. That's my ultimate archetype. As soon as I learn something or receive something, I want to share it. And this is beautifully fitting in as I'm preparing the teacher training manual for the women who are coming into the next phase of their journey in the Institute and training as teachers of intuitive intelligence, which is so incredibly exciting. That is happening at the end of this month. And also happening in Ireland. But this information is just sort of percolating at the perfect time because I'll be able to share this with them and they'll be able to teach it to you. But I want to just give you a little overview of it because I'm really excited. And when I talk about it, I often get deeper into it and deeper understanding. So I was writing an Instagram, post this morning, as I do that as part of my devotion because I really love showing up in that space. And I wrote this post about intuition as a state of being, which is something I talk about a lot. So intuitive intelligence is moving intuition beyond, I consult my oracle cards or my pendulum and I ask a question, will the boy marry me? Or I use my intuition to try and get a car park or something else. And we're actually moving into a state where we are constantly in a flow state or union with our intuition. So in fact, it stops becoming a conversation at all, and it's actually just a constant sense of knowing right action in every moment. You don't have to ask a question, you don't have to pull a card, you don't have to consider how to get into the right state because you live in that state of being. And that is the ultimate, for me, that is what I call surrender intuition. But what I came to realize in a deep way this morning, even though I teach states of consciousness and we talk about subconscious fear all of the time, was that when we get into the final phase of intuition, what I call the surrender intuition, when we're really living our intuitive intelligence and we're not just tapping into it from time to time, which is really not the point of intuition at all. It should be switched on all of the time and we live in that flow state, is that we're making a permanent shift in our subconscious program. So let me break that down for you. So in order to live in the state of being of our intuitive intelligence, we make a permanent shift from fear to love at not the conscious reasoning mind level, because the conscious reasoning mind level doesn't know anything. If we live from that state of being, if that was the place we really made our choices from, we'd all be living blissful, healthy, abundant lives. None of our addictions would come into play. We'd be prosperous and all the rest of it. But we're not. We live in this subconscious program, and that subconscious program, when it's unmet, is usually dominant towards fear. Because fear is how we evolve. However, we don't know how to work productively with fear, most of us, and so that fear just becomes part of our biology, it becomes our body mind, it becomes our addictions, it becomes all of our self-defeating behaviors, and we are separated from that intuitive knowing, that flow state, by these unmet fear programs, which is why my system of developing your intuition, the most revolutionary system of developing intuition in my opinion, is to change the subconscious program by knowing how to work with fear. and working with fear productively. So when we reach a tipping point, which is what surrender intuition is, that living in intuitive intelligence, what we've done is we've made a permanent shift from fear to love at the subconscious level, and therefore we are connected to that state of union, that overcoming in the belief of separation, which is really what all fear is, and we are subconsciously connected to our highest knowing all of the time. Now this matters because, as I've just said, our conscious reasoning mind is not the place we make choices from. Our conscious reasoning mind is the place we'd like to be making choices from, but that is it's our personality, it's the part that we present to the world. But the deep part of us that is programmed one way or another to fear or love, or somewhere on that continuum to make choices, is usually a program of unmet fear. So I just got this, even though this is simply just a refinement of what I teach, it just landed so powerfully for me today. And I have no doubt it's because of the deep work of sitting with my sisters in the postgraduate program. God, that was amazing. I'll do another live to tell you all about it. But and I just got the photos from our photographer, so I can't wait to share them with you. But what we're doing is we're learning how to live from our intuition not just consciously. And I think this is just such a huge piece of the puzzle for me, because people are like, how do I know the difference between my intuition? How do I know if my choice is intuition or fear? And it's like, actually, the place we want to get to is that this is an unconscious process, or a subconscious process. We're actually never having to check in, ask, do our process, do our ritual, whatever. We're just subconsciously attuned to love as the predominant way of being, so that our intuition is flowing like grace moving through us all of the time. And so what we want is this actually to become an invisible process. We're not actually looking at what is my conscious mind thinking, because this knows nothing. The subconscious mind, which I locate in the metaphysical and the anatomical heart, is where we want to be making that permanent switch. And that's how we live in intuitive intelligence. That's how we are constantly in that state of being. So I don't know if I'm speaking this out loud and you're like, yes, Ricky, you talk about this all of the time. It's just what I know to be true based on what you say, but actually this feels deeper than that. It feels like another progression in understanding for me, and I'd love for you to know if it's exciting for you that actually we can make a change at the subconscious level to be privileging and living from that intuition all of the time. And that is what I mean when I say a state of being. Let me just check the questions. Carrie, all of this, except for, this is a new way of talking about it, is in Spiritually Fierce. Get the second edition. You can get it on Amazon. You can get the ebook on my website, rickyjaneadams.com. You can get it as an audiobook on Audible or Google Play. And this is where I put most of this content. The Initiate program is also where this content happens. And I am taking that to Ireland in the end of next month for the accelerated version of that program. Otherwise, it's available as a pre-recorded program online. It's a 12-week program. You can find that at the instituteforintuitiveintelligence.com. And of course, I'm training these incredible women at the end of this month to take this work out into the world. And my great hope is that they'll be offering it in lots of different kind of formats. So if you want to go on retreat and do this, you can, or if you want to do it online or in person, you can. But I will be coming to Ireland at the end of September. I'm incredibly excited about this because I've been called by my deep knowing, my deep intuition, my surrender intuition for a long time to take this work global. And to me, I'm like, I'm coming to the Northern Hemisphere, baby. This is worth getting on a plane for. I've got women coming from Norway, Wales, England. Of course, there's people in Ireland traveling from all over the country to join me in either Ballina or Limerick. I even got a message from someone the other day saying they're considering coming from Bunbury in the southwest of Western Australia. And I'm offering this in Limerick for 2 days and in Ballina for 2 days. They're beautiful places to visit, and really this is a pilgrimage. And if you want to do the accelerated version of this program with me, then please do, because it's amazing as a 12-week program. The beautiful thing is if you come and do the 2-day workshop with me in Ireland, you get the 12-week program included for free. And this is really just an exceptional opportunity. It's a masterclass in intuitive intelligence, which is beyond the trinkets and superstitions of the New Age. This is not about connecting into crystals and oracle cards. This is about meeting yourself as God, meeting yourself as has that infinite power. And as I said, my relationship with intuition is deepening every day, and you've just seen that. I've just something's landed in me in a deeper way, a higher truth. And we're never at the end point of our intuition. It is absolutely vital that we take our relationship with our intuition as an indicator of our relationship with our awakening, because we are using the language of intuition to guide us home. So if your intuition's a bit off, then the relationship with yourself is going to be off, your relationship with God is going to be off, because it's the litmus test, if you like. And ultimately we move into that absolute flow state, that state of being where we are no longer even considering to ask a question. So I would love for you to join me in Ireland if you can, and if you know people in that part of the world, and I mean like Northern Hemisphere, come from the US, come from all over Europe. Let's make this pilgrimage happen. The call to take this work global is so strong, and I really do believe it's the most revolutionary form of intuition available. There really just isn't anything like it. So I'll share the link and all the details. Please pass this on to anyone you know who needs this work, and come and join me in Ireland. And let's take this revolution global, and let's take it away from this, my power is outside of me and I have to do all of these rituals and superstitions in order to get to that state of being. It is not true. We are infinite, unlimited, non-local, acausal beings, and it's simply our job to remember that, and then to bow down in devotion to that truth and work the muscle of our intuition every damn day. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I said I'd show you my view. I really do want to, because it's really beautiful out here. Let me see if I can do this without blinding you all, because the light is bright. The light is bright. This is such a beautiful treat after, doing the deep work. It's good to embrace and enjoy. That's my view. So beautiful. Enjoying that glorious sunshine. It will be 2 degrees when I land home in Melbourne this afternoon. So, forgive me for enjoying this for just a few moments more, and, embracing the hard work that we have done, the postgraduates and I have done. So much love to you all. Bye.